All right, well, let's go ahead and get things started. We'll have some people joining, I think, as we get going, but good morning. I'm so happy everyone's here today. We have a great program for you. My name is Jenny Preciado. I'm with Junior Achievement. I'm a program manager at Junior Achievement. So as a program manager, my job is to set up events like this with students all across San Diego County. Sometimes they're in the classrooms, with just one class. Sometimes like this, we do it where we invite several classes, which is what actually has been really nice about distance learning. We're able to share these events with more than one class. But so that's what I do. I get to set these up all the time. It's great to know that students get to work with and hear from individuals who are professionals in our community. So thank you very much. At JA, our mission is to inspire students to own their economic success. So our goal is to get the students ready for their adult world through entrepreneurship, career readiness, and financial literacy. And we do that through the support of our sponsors and the schools and volunteers. And so today we have SDG&E's FIT group. And I think our keynote speaker is going to tell you a little bit more about the FIT group. But we have SDG&E's FIT group, who is our volunteers for today. SDG&E supports JA in a big way in BizTown, and so we're very thankful for them. Let's see, I want to thank all the attendees today. It's great to have you all here with us. If you wouldn't mind, it'd be great to have you put the school or organization you're from in the chat. It might be kind of fun to see where everyone's from today. And then we're going to get started with a quick video about SDG&E, kind of an overview. So if you give me just a minute to get that started. Oops, and of course it's not there. Here we go. El Camino High School, great. I'm sorry, you guys, I'm having a hard time with something's going on here. Got it going. Here it is. All right. Okay.
Powering San Diego's future. We are transforming the power grid by creating local microgrids and battery storage that will capture more clean energy, increase reliability, and improve safety. We are reducing San Diego's carbon footprint by helping people make the switch to electric vehicles. Why? Because we are more than an energy company. We are a people company. We are SDG&E.
All right, so that's just a quick little overview of SDG&E. And I want to take a second here. We've got a bunch of things in the chat. Oops, sorry, hold on. All right. Let's see who in the chat. Where are you guys from? We've got Vista, Westview, El Camino. Got a lot of El Camino. Westview, Vista, Poway, more El Camino. Got Grossmont, more Vista, San Ysidro. Good to have you. Mrs. Brown. Thank you, everyone. Got more Westview there. Someone says my mom worked with SDG&E for 19 years. This is going to be cool to learn about. Very cool. All right, so here we go. I am going to turn it over to our keynote speaker, John Blatchford. John is an IT associate and the president of FIT. So go ahead, John, take it away.
All right, thank you. And thank you very much, everyone, for giving me the opportunity to talk to you today. My name is John, a recent graduate from San Diego State University. working in a STEM field here at SDG&E. I'm the president of the Future of IT, or FIT program. One of the things our program does is go out to different events like this one, talk about working in STEM. We volunteer in the community, and we look to help in whatever way we can. To give you a little bit about my background, I was born in Poway. I lived in Ramona as a kid. I graduated from Ramona High. I went straight to college at San Diego State, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. I like numbers and money, so I chose finance. That was as much thought as I gave it, to be honest with you. My family was not super well off, so I had to leave school a few times due to not being able to afford tuition. At the time, I also discovered finance wasn't really what I wanted to do. I tried a few other things, but nothing really stuck with me until I discovered that I really like computers and I like solving problems. I knew I needed to finish my degree, so I joined the military so that I could afford my college education. I went back to San Diego State. I changed my major to management information systems. I graduated, chose to begin my career here at SDG&E. And while I was working here, I got a chance to complete my master's as well in IT. I've gotten to learn a ton of cool things in my job, cool ways to solve problems with data. I get to work with wildfire data now and find ways to reduce wildfire risk for our communities. So I know I don't have a whole lot of time with you today, and I want to be able to give some time for our speakers as well, but I thought I would kind of give 3 things I would tell myself if I were in high school or sitting in your shoes right now. The first is it's okay to not know what you want to do. Look at your passions and find the difference between things that are hobbies and things you can do professionally. I had a lot of friends who knew exactly what they wanted to do in high school, and they've been really successful. But I've also had friends, and I fit into this category, that didn't know what they wanted to do. And I think we've also been successful. Our roads are a little different, but we ended up at the same place. I think it's really critical to find the difference between hobbies and professions. Personally, in school, I liked playing sports and I liked video games. I tried both those things professionally, and I kind of lost my joy for doing both those things. So I think it's really good to find what's a great escape or a good mental reset, and then what can you do as a job. When I started working in my field, I found it was something I really enjoyed doing. I still get to play sports, I still get to do video games and all that fun stuff, but I have a lot of fun at my work. So the second thing I would say is to learn to work with others. While at San Diego State, I ran study groups. Those connections helped me in my career. It also helped me understand the material. You really learn to see things and understand things in a different way when your peers are questioning you and asking you those questions. It's also the best preparation for work. So most places you work at, my job included, I'm working with a team of other really bright individuals, and we're working together to solve problems. So learning how to work in that environment early is really critical for your success. And then finally, look for something you can do that's going to make a positive impact in your community. You're going to spend a ton of time at work, no 2 ways about it. So even if you're having fun and your financial needs are covered, at some point you're going to want to help others, or you're going to want to leave kind of a lasting impact. And so think about that when you're looking at where you want to work. For me, I grew up in Ramona in a high wildfire threat area, and now I get to work with data and solve problems that can help those communities. And those communities are people that I knew, families that I grew up with, and it gives me a lot of satisfaction in my job. So again, just wanted to thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. Wish everybody on the call and everybody from your schools a ton of success in all that you do. And we have a lot of amazing speakers for you here today. I've gotten to work with each one of them. They're all great. I can't wait for them to tell you about their journey and about what they do. So with that, I'll pass it back.
Thank you, John. That was great. I love those takeaways. Leave a positive mark on your community is really cool, particularly now that you say that you get to help the community you grew up in. I think that's great. Let's see. So next, we are going to do some departmental overviews. We're going to hear from 3 SDG&E employees who all do different jobs. They're going to tell you about what their departments do, what their typical workday looks like, and what it's like to work in their fields. And students, this is your opportunity to ask questions. The volunteers chose to be here today to help you understand the working world. This is your opportunity to get your college and career questions answered by the professionals, both during this departmental overview and during the career panel that we'll do in the second half of the morning. And so add your questions to the chat box. Towards the end, we might have an opportunity to have you speak them, but for now, if you could share your questions in the chat box. We'll try to get to as many of them as we can. And so let's see. So now we're going to start with the departmental overviews. I'm going to give each of you about 5 minutes and just start with what your department and program does, and how does your department and your role fit into the company's overall mission. So let's go ahead and start with Shane Luna, who's a data engineer in enterprise analytics.
Hey guys, and thanks, Jenny. Like Jenny just mentioned, my name is Shane Luna. I'm currently a data engineer at SDG&E in our enterprise analytics team, where we're really focused on moving, centralizing data and supporting the analysis of data for different teams throughout the company. And I'm actually working, me and John are on the same team right now, it's funny. And I'm also currently a graduate student at UC San Diego. Just a little bit about my own personal background. I did go to college originally for computer science and math. So very focused on software engineering, a lot of coding, before kind of moving into this data engineering role with more of a data-centric focus. And just kind of thinking broadly, right? Data is being collected almost in everything nowadays. So how can we utilize that data with purpose? And two of the projects I would just highlight at a high level that I'm personally involved in is similar to John, a project where we're analyzing data on wildfire and wildfire prevention efforts, which to me holds a strong purpose to it. And then number two, we are also kind of supporting data science team within the company who's building predictive models for risk management, which I think from a technology perspective is super cool. And that's actually kind of what I'm going back to school for right now. It's kind of the machine learning and artificial intelligence side of things. So it's just kind of a little bit about me, but what I also figured I'd share is similar to John, a little bit about my own high school experience, which was very actually focused on sports. I actually, in high school, I was very focused on soccer. I was playing competitive soccer, and I would just kind of share, I maybe wasn't thinking too far ahead at the time. And I still remember showing up to soccer practice one day, and I think we had like a film review day, something like that. Maybe this was sophomore year of high school. And we were asked to fill out a form that day. We were doing something different, some form or questionnaire about our own goals, which again, I wasn't thinking too far ahead. I wasn't really thinking about. And I still remember at the top of the paper, it said, "A goal without a plan is just a wish." I had some quote like that at the top, and I still remember it. And again, I wasn't thinking that far ahead. And as I started going through this exercise or questionnaire, for me personally, what it made me realize for my own future that I wanted was I really love technology, and I think long term I wanted a career in life involved with or around technology. And so that was kind of what I came out of it with. So we established some goals for ourselves, and what they also made us do is put a plan together, working towards those goals. And for me specifically, part of that plan for technology included going to college, and kind of then breaking that down even further. What's going to help me then get into college, which was, okay, got to focus on getting good grades. Is there any extracurriculars I could get involved in? For me, I was already in soccer, which was good. And is there any opportunities for relevant experience, to obtain some relevant experience? And luckily I had an opportunity to take a computer science AP class at the time, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And I was always kind of playing on the computer, taking coding classes, whatever I could find online. And part of my philosophy too is have some fun along the way, right? And so I kind of set some goals and a plan. And by the time I got to the end of high school, and it was kind of college time, applying to colleges, maybe receiving some acceptances back, I was actually surprised. I was very surprised that I was getting into a handful of schools strictly based off merit. I had a handful of college offers for soccer and scholarships for soccer. And at the end of the day, for me, it was very rewarding, I would say, right? Setting a goal, creating a plan, sticking with it, hitting certain milestones. It was very rewarding for me, right? And so I ended up going to school, set new milestones, updated my plan, set new goals. And I kind of just continued doing this down my own path. And I think I've gotten to this point where I've been able to work myself into that technology space. And my plans and goals are still changing yearly, a couple times a year. I'm still kind of going down my own path. I'm back in school again, right? I'm still learning, but I just want to kind of emphasize that for me personally, having this plan has helped me to achieve my own goals. And it's okay for that plan to change, right? It doesn't have to be the same. It's actually more normal for it to be not a straight line, not linear. But I would just want to say, if you have your own kind of goals and aspirations to have a plan. And I'll kind of leave you guys with that and pass it on to our next speaker here, Ella.
Great. Thank you. So hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. My name is Ella Ordonez, and I'm really excited to be here today. A bit about my background. I went to high school in San Diego. I graduated from Westview High School, so this is really close to home for me. And then I went to SDSU, and I was actually undeclared up until my junior year. And then I just graduated last year in 2020 with a degree in business administration. And now I'm working in the IT department at SDG&E, but more specifically, I'm in an IT associate rotation program for recent college graduates. So I started at the company as an IT intern this summer going into my senior year of college, and then I just started full-time in the associate program after I graduated. So to explain a little bit about what the associate program is, it's a really cool program where you get to try 3 different 9-month rotations in areas that you're interested in IT. And actually, everyone involved in today's panel is related to the program in some way or has been through it. Dawn being our director, Mary, our manager, and Shane, who you just heard, Diana, John, Christian, and myself, either going through it or have been through it in the past. So it's really cool. My first rotation was around IT financials, and currently I'm in my second rotation doing cybersecurity engineering and consulting, and then I will have one more to choose from after this. There's also rotational programs in other areas in the company, such as finance, accounting, engineering, and actually the summer that I interned, we also had someone interning for the sustainability team, just to name some. So it's cool, even if you aren't interested in IT, there's a bunch of other areas that keeps our company running. And then just some takeaways. I really just want to emphasize the importance of internship programs and rotational programs. I really wish someone would have told me the importance of internships earlier. I didn't get one until my junior year of college, and I am really glad I did because it really set the pace for my career post-college. I definitely would not be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for that experience. So to you guys, just recommendations if you do plan on going to college, just trying to get some type of experience while you're there, whether that's just getting involved on clubs on campus or working or internships, just so you can get a little snapshot into how life is going to be like after college. And it also helps you figure out what you might want to do. Also, just keeping an open mind when it comes to looking at different programs or getting involved. You are not expected to know exactly what you want to do yet, and that's why internships are so important. Just thinking it's crazy. Just like 2 years ago, I really had no idea what I wanted to do. And I kind of was just going through the motions of GE classes at college. And then I just decided on business administration because I was getting to the point where I had to declare a major. And I would have never guessed that I would be in technology just like a year later working in cybersecurity assessments. It's super awesome. And even if you're not interested in IT like we are, it's just want you to know that you're going to be okay. You will figure it out. It doesn't matter if you don't know what you want to do when you're 18 or 20 or 22. Everyone has a different journey, and that's okay. And you'll discover your interests, and you will end up exactly where you need to be. And lastly, I just want to stress the importance of company culture. It's probably one of the best parts of my job and the reason why I chose to stay here. I know it can be really hard when you're looking for jobs and when you're interviewing to really get a feel for what culture they actually have. So that's another reason why I think internships are super important, because you get to spend a whole summer. And then from that summer, I think you can get a pretty good feel for how the culture is. Just make sure, you know, that they value your growth and success, work-life balance, and that they have great leadership. Just feeling too like you're given meaningful work is something that was really important to me. And as the youth and the future to a lot of companies, it's really important to feel valued where you are. And I'm really happy that SDG&E does a great job with all of that. So thank you. I'll pass it to Diana.
Thank you, Ella. Hello, everyone. My name is Diana Anguiano. I'm a cybersecurity analyst for San Diego Gas and Electric. I'm in a bit of a transition right now, so I'm just going to speak more to the last couple of years I've been on the cybersecurity systems ops team, transitioning right now to identity and access management. So what my team or what my department really focuses on is just reducing risk to the company and making sure that we stay in compliance. So just like you saw that video right at the beginning where it introduced the company and you saw that we have the microgrids, things like that, you know, we have to protect those things to keep the lights on. My role specifically is in privileged access management, or it can also be called privileged access security. So my role is basically, or my goal every day is to safeguard the privileged accounts across the enterprise. So as you can imagine, I support people in the company across San Diego Gas and Electric and SoCal Gas. So I work with hundreds of people. And then if you can imagine how many privileged accounts we potentially have to access the microgrids, to maintain, to administrate all of our applications, there's tens of thousands of accounts that need to be safeguarded and kept compliant. So that's my main focus. My high school experience, I went to Escondido High School. So I'm from ESCO, that's what I know it as. And I actually had an interesting experience where I was actually a bad kid starting in high school. So I did have bad grades. And then I got my act together my second half of sophomore year, and I decided to get all my grades together and take summer classes to make up for all the bad grades that I got the first year. And my final year, it was more of a punishment than anything, but I was forced to take an HTML class. I decided to open myself up to it and just said, okay, well, let's see what it has to offer. And I really enjoyed it. It just came naturally to me. And I decided at that point, okay, now I think I want to do something in computers graduating out of high school. And since I still didn't know, I didn't want to jump to the university level per se. So I decided to go to a community college, and I did go to Palomar College to kind of feel out what I wanted to do. And at that point, I really suggest talk to a counselor. If you have any ideas of where potentially you want to be at some point, ask for the path to get there and look at all those paths. I know the counselors, I think there was like a site I used to access as well where you would put in, okay, at some point I want to end up at a university with this degree. And I think you can even choose the particular university, and it tells you, okay, if you're at this community college, you have to take these courses so that you can, like if you want to get your associate's degree and transfer, or if you just want to transfer. So you have options. And at that point, I decided computer science was going to be my path, only because there was a lot of math classes, and that's just something that I was always naturally good at. So I decided to take that path, got my associate's degree, transferred to Cal State San Marcos. And from there, my biggest recommendation moving forward from there is to take chances. I've always been a very introverted and shy person. Not just that, but I'm a pessimist. So I guess I'm super lucky, right? And it was one teacher who there was a all women's hackathon that Cal State San Marcos was hosting. And the teacher was asking for volunteers, just to volunteer, like to, help out, organize, decorate. And I decided, okay, I want to volunteer as well. And when she approached me, she said, I don't want you to volunteer. I want you to participate. And I was like, oh no, I can't participate. I wouldn't be any good at that. I'm just trying to get my degree. And she's like, no, participate. So I decided to participate, and I actually ended up winning the grand prize the second time I went, and I won a prize that time. So at that point I realized, okay, there is no end all be all. You can always take a chance. You can always try something new. And then those opportunities, even if I would have participated in that hackathon and lost, that's still an experience that I gained, and still something that I can add to my resume to say, I took the chance to compete in this. I took the chance to practice my skills. And from there, everything just kind of snowballed. I agree with Ella, try to take as many internships as you can. And with the different types of companies, you'll notice with IT, there's the startup businesses versus big corporations like San Diego Gas and Electric. Try it all out. There's opportunities across the board for companies that are just trying to build up, versus companies that are already set in place, but you get to find your place of, okay, am I developing something new, or am I just continuing to build on something that already is there? So from there, I got my degree in computer science, and I joined the IT associate program, which I was super excited to get. And my first rotation was in full stack Java development. And again, I was like, full stack Java development, I haven't even coded in Java since community college. I've gone to university, I haven't even coded in Java anymore. And I was like, well, programming languages are basically like, you can, once you're good at one or two, you can basically pick up more and more and more as you go. So I decided, okay, let's do this. And when I got in the room, I just remember looking at one of the guys in the project rooms, and his first thing he said to me was, don't worry, nobody's expecting you to conduct any miracles here. Nobody's expecting that. Just relax. We're all here to help, and we're all gonna basically figure it out together. So that was the first thing he said to me. And after that, I was like, all right, let's do let's do this. Let's go on Google. Let's do trainings. Let's talk to people, see what we got, and then keep developing yourself from there. And that's all I got. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much to all you speakers. You did a great job. I love that the students got to hear about some of your careers. That was great. I think it's really important for them to know the variety of careers that are possible at a big company like SDG&E, right? So in addition to all of your IT careers, you know, there's to make a company successful, you have to have HR and marketing, legal, sales, accounting, product development. So I think no matter what a student's interest is, chances are there's a place for everyone at a big company like SDG&E. So thank you so much. That was great to hear about some of your career paths and your jobs. And with that, we're going to roll right into our career panel. We have 3 professionals from SDG&E's FIT group who are going to answer your career questions. We're going to get started by having them share their college and career journeys with you. They're experts in their fields. So if you listen closely, you'll learn what it was like to go to college and what their first career job was and what they do in their current jobs. Students, try to imagine yourself in their roles. What sort of things would you enjoy doing? What stands out to you? So what is meaningful that you hear in what they're doing or the path that they took? And so we have Dawn Welsh, who's the Director of Technical Strategic Services and SDG&E Applications. Mary Scanlon, who's the manager of IT Associate and Intern Program, and Christian Early, who is an IT Associate. So let's get started by having each of you take about 2 minutes to tell us about your school and career journey. If you went to school in San Diego, tell us where, because the kids would love to hear that. And then pick up your path from there. Did you go to college? Where? What was your college path like? And how did you get where you are today? So go ahead. Let's start with Dawn. Oops, I think you're on mute, Dawn.
I was double muted. So I'm excited to be here to talk with you all today. I have a daughter in college right now, and I have a daughter who graduated a couple of years ago. And so college has been just a really big part of my life. I remember from the time I was a wee tot that my dad was always telling me, you're going to go to college, you're going to get a job, you're going to be able to support yourself. That was his message to me growing up. He himself did not go to college, neither did my mother. And so as I got into high school, my dad was like, okay, you need to know what your major is going to be. When I was a sophomore in high school, like I was freaking out. Oh my gosh, I have no idea. And so at that point, I knew about lawyers, and I was usually in really leadership positions in my high school. And I went to high school in Las Vegas. So I was not a San Diego person at the time. And very involved in a lot of clubs and activities. I ended up being the president of the high school. And so all those leadership positions sort of snowballed. And I said, okay, I like debating and things like that. So I said I wanted to be a lawyer. And so I was going to major in political science. So that was my objective as I was finishing up high school, because my dad told me I needed to have my major figured out, which I will tell you, you do not need to have figured out. So from there, I chose college. I didn't go visit it because that wasn't a thing. And I went and saw a presentation about it, and I ended up at Pepperdine University in Malibu, California for my freshman year in college. And I was a political science major. And when I got there, I figured out that I could go to law school and major in whatever I wanted. And so I also decided at the time that the university that I was going to was way too small for me. I needed something bigger with more things going on. And so I decided at that point to change my major. And I said, I wonder what I might be able to make some money at. If the whole lawyer thing doesn't work out, what else could I do? And so I was thumbing through, at the time, it was a book of majors at Arizona State University, which is where a bunch of my teachers in high school had graduated from. And I landed on business and computers. And at this point, this was long time ago, I had never logged onto a computer. I had never been to Phoenix, Arizona, Tempe, where Arizona State was. And so I changed my major and I changed my school, and off to Arizona State I went. And I still remember my very first computer science, or my computer class that I took, and going into the computer lab and being completely intimidated because I couldn't find the on button for the computer, because back then the on button was in the very back underneath of something. And so I was completely embarrassed to even ask anybody, like, where's the on button? So I finally got brave and I had to ask somebody how to do that. And, I ended up really enjoying programming, and I really enjoyed that development side of things. But then as I got into the workforce, I ended up, my first job was actually here in San Diego at General Dynamics. And the culture, you heard Ella talk about the culture of the group that I got put in, because they didn't really have a big associate program like we do at SDG&E. I felt very isolated. I was working with people that were much older than me. They didn't give me context as to why what I was doing was important. And you heard some of our speakers already talk about the cool and important things that they're doing for their communities and for the company. I didn't have that context. And so I was like, I picked the wrong job. I didn't have an internship. I had no idea what to expect when I got into that workforce. And so, I was just literally counting the days until I could quit, because I signed a contract with them that I had to be there for a year. And suddenly an opportunity arose that I could go work on a project that sounded really cool, but I would have to move. And I was okay with that because at the time I didn't have anybody here in San Diego really. And so that's when I went into a place where there were other people my age. We were doing new things. They gave us context as to why this was important. And it really, I felt like I was flourishing in that. I was enjoying work. I was enjoying the people that I was working with. That part was a great experience. From there, I went to work at Northrop Grumman doing very similar things, so defense industry. And then I actually left there and went to work at our sister utility, SoCal Gas, which is up in LA. And a big part of that was the culture of that company. I was really impressed with the culture, and it aligned with my values of me personally. And it gave me, again, something to look at, or something to do that had importance. And so that's how I ended up at this company. The two utilities, SDG&E and Southern California Gas, merged together. And I think this was touched on earlier, but these companies are like a small town. I mean, we have everything. You're hearing from the IT people, but we have electrical engineers, we have gas engineers, we have communications people, we have graphic designers, we have people that are weather meteorologist people, we have fire science people. So we are literally a small town unto ourselves. So, what I'd leave you with is you don't have to have it all figured out already. But no, kind of generally, I think Shane put it really well, or John did actually at the very beginning, where he said, understand what you're excited about doing and sort of figure out what are the hobbies that you like, because you can still do those, but then what are the things that can become a career for you? And so just be flexible and be willing to change. So I'll leave you with that.
Wonderful. Thank you. Mary, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name's Mary. It's so fun to hear about everyone that I work with, actual paths. To tell you a little about mine, I'm from a teeny tiny little town in southern Minnesota, and I have a little bit of a different, non-traditional, I might call it, career path. In high school, I was privileged to be able to work at a summer camp for girls. And so I spent my summers away from home, actually working with kids that were the same age as me, who were from all over the country, and privileged to spend 4 or 8 weeks there. And so in that opportunity for 4 years in high school, I, of course, determined that I wanted to be a summer camp director. So I went to college. At the college, my dad was a high school teacher and football coach. So I grew up very much in that Friday night lights, small town lifestyle. And I went to college and at a school in Minnesota, Winona State University. My dad said to me, you're going to spend money, you're going to take out all these student loans. So you better have a plan and you better go make it happen for yourself. And you better walk out of college in 4 years and not spend 10 years going back and forth like some people in your life have done. That was literally the guidance that my dad gave me. So off I went to get my degree in park and recreation management because I wanted to be a camp director. And after college, I went to work for the summer camp that I worked for. And I traveled around during the winters and hired college kids to come be summer camp counselors. And I went to all the cities that we had kids from and did a reunion and basically signed them all up for the next year. So I did that for a few years and then realized that I was never going to be a camp director because it costs a lot of money to buy a camp. And my mentality at the time was, I don't come from that. So that's not what I'm going to do. And at the same time, I started having this spirit, my spirit of adventure was coming out of me. And I realized I've been nowhere, I've done nothing, what I want to go. And so I saved $3,000, quit my job, sold everything I owned, and packed up my car and went on a trip and traveled to the West and camped and backpacked and traveled around and made that $3,000 last for about a year, camping and visiting different people that I knew. And at that time, I ran out of money. And, you know, while I have a wonderful family, I did not have people I could call for money. And so it was time to stop and get serious again. So I found myself in San Diego, and I started as a temp employee 23 years ago at SDG&E in their human resources department. And at that time, I had no idea where I was going to go next, what I was going to do, but found a real liking to HR because I love people, I love getting to know people, and there was a lot of opportunity for all of that. So for the last 23 years, I've had a lot of various jobs in the HR department. I have done recruiting for the company for 7 years. I have had the opportunity to work on so many awesome projects and implementations of new systems. I was actually part of the company when we went from this 13-page job application that was a booklet to making an online job application. The director of HR and I did that together many years ago. So just so many opportunities in HR over the years. And I really, during that time, thought HR was now my career. And so I really focused on, I want to work in diversity and inclusion. I want to work in employee relations. I want to work in training. And so I kept doing different things in HR because that's the opportunity you have, like others mentioned. There's so many different opportunities in a company like SDG&E. And so I really truly thought I was an HR career person. And then all of a sudden, a couple of years ago, I got antsy again and decided what's next. And I ended up on a project that was IT related for the last couple of years and had the privilege to get to know the IT organization, and now have just recently found myself managing the program for our IT associates, who are people coming out of college into the company. So really, there's so much more to tell about my career, but really the takeaways I really want to impart upon you are, I get emotional when I say this, if you have a spirit of adventure in you, go after it. You won't regret it. You'll be happy. You can start thinking you're one thing in your life, everyone, and you can do a zillion other things. So let your spirit of adventure shine and do that. And lastly, everyone said it, and you can find big companies like SDG&E, and there are a zillion different careers in them. And you can start as a laborer in the company. You can start as a meter. Well, you used to be able to start as a meter reader in the company. You can start as a customer service rep. There are so many jobs you can start at where you don't have to have all kinds of experience and education. And there's lots of jobs you can start at where you bring a lot of education and experience in. So those are my takeaways, is to just really think about that and be open and flexible to what's in front of you, because there's just so much out there.
Thank you, Mary. I love that. I love the let your spirit of adventure shine. That's great. So let's see. So last we have Christian Early, and Christian is an IT associate. And then after Christian speaks, so I think we should have some time for questions. So remember, if you have questions, you can be putting them in the chat. And also, if you came in a little late, we were putting your schools in the chat. So if you came in a little late and you want to tell us what school you're from, feel free. So go ahead, Christian.
Thank you. So good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. I'm really enjoying learning about my manager and colleagues, their career stories. So a little bit about mine. My name is Christian Irelian. I'm an IT associate on the digital factory team. I graduated from Hoover High School in City Heights. Go Cardinals. Shortly after finishing high school, I attended San Diego City College for a couple of years. And I have to admit, at that point, I still didn't know what type of career path I wanted to pursue. And honestly, I felt stuck because I couldn't afford to attend a four-year university at the time. So I ended up following in my dad's footsteps and joined the military to help pay for school. I chose the Navy because I wanted to see the world and gain some marketable skills. And I enlisted as an electronics technician where I worked on communication systems and weather equipment on an aircraft carrier. So I lived on a ship for 9 months at a time, which was fun at times. But yeah, so I also was a military recruiter, which really pushed me out of my comfort zone because I'm similar to Diana, I'm an introvert, and that role really helped me become more comfortable with talking to people and furthering my and further developing my communication skills. So after spending a few years helping others pursue their career goals, I started to think about what I wanted long term for my career. And I spent some time reflecting, and eventually I realized, based on some of my experience in the military, that I really enjoy working with technology, new innovative technologies, and I enjoy helping people, providing a service to others. So after some time, I ended up leaving the Navy after completing my contract, and then I went back to school to SDSU to major in management information systems. And I was interested in this program because it really aligned with my passions. It also equips graduates with skills they need to use technology to solve business problems and ultimately improve the lives of others. So during my junior years, when I actually joined SDG&E as an intern, and I wasn't an intern for IT, I actually started as an intern for operation support services. And in that group, we help with facilities operations, real estate, and land services. And then during my senior year, I applied for the IT associate program after learning about it during operation support services internship, and I got hired on after graduating. So my first rotation was in the Network Operations Center, where I helped with the network infrastructure throughout the company. So I kept the internet up for all of our telecommunication systems and our telecom sites. I then transitioned over to cybersecurity systems operations, working closely with Diana for the privileged access security management systems. And now I work closely with business stakeholders and our vendors to implement robotic process automations throughout our company. And it's been a really great opportunity to be a part of this company. And I feel as though I've really grown throughout my IT professional career. So you could see I didn't follow a traditional career path, but every detour helped me grow into the professional that I am today. And eventually I did find my calling. But it's also important to note that I couldn't have gotten as far as I've come without support from my teachers, my mentors, managers, colleagues. And it's very important to build relationships and have the right people in your corner as you grow throughout your career. So keep that in mind as you all pursue your career journeys as well. And you don't necessarily have to know exactly what you want to do in high school, but I do encourage you to pursue explore your interests, be open to change, and have fun with this journey because it can go either way. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Christian. We have one question here. It says, does SDG&E have any high school internships? Does anybody want to take that? Do we know?
Sorry, trying to get off of double mute again. So at this time, we don't have high school internships, but once you get into college, there's opportunities, obviously within the IT organization for summer internships that we have available.
Okay, great. And then way up, I think one of you had gone to Palomar College, and someone asked, how did you like Palomar?
Diana, I think that's you.
Yep. And I loved Palomar. I absolutely loved it. I love the professors there. And I love the course material that I took there. Not just that, but it's a beautiful campus. I'm actually kind of jealous now that after I left Palomar College, they made so many improvements and it's even more beautiful. And the food is really good. Like one of the burgers there was my favorite. But yeah, I absolutely loved it.
Good. That's good to know. I'll have to go check it out. I haven't been up to that campus. Okay, so we have a few minutes left, so I'm going to ask, and please, students, teachers, if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. While we're waiting for those, I'm going to ask, in your opinion, and whoever wants to answer this is happy. I'm happy to have you answer it. You don't have to all do it. In your opinion, what is the most important skill to have while looking for a job and keeping a job? So what do you have to do well to get and keep a job?
I'm happy to take that one. For me, I would say it's not necessarily a skill, but it's more of a mentality, a spirit, so to speak. Be ready to jump in and learn always while you're doing, because it is the reality of the workforce today. And quite honestly, I think it's quite fun. And it's a way to keep you engaged and active and always valuable, because you're always willing to jump in and learn what you need to do, using the smarts that you've got in you. So to me, that's what's really important, to while you're looking for a job and while you're in it and wanting to keep it.
Great. And what interests and skills, like maybe things that you learned in high school, what are things that are very important for students to learn now that will help them be successful later? Like maybe, you took math and English and other subjects in high school. What do you use now, and what would be valuable for them to really hold on to?
I'll start. Shane, you might want to jump in on this one as well, based on what you talked about earlier. But we talked about this as we were prepping for today. It's that when you're in high school and when you're in college and you're given a group assignment, you usually dread it. You usually go, oh my God, I can't believe I have to do a group project. And part of that is because you can't always rely on your team members, right? And when you get into the work environment, it is all about working on teams. I think you probably heard that from everybody that spoke today. And so Shane, I know you talked about being on teams in high school. I don't know if you want to pick it up from here about some of the skills you learned being on the teams that you were on in high school.
Yeah, I could touch on that. I guess not even looking at the technical side, two things I would say are very important is just kind of being open and eager to learn, right? You don't have to know everything. People aren't expecting you to know everything, and things are always changing too. So just kind of just naturally being curious about things is helpful. And then two, from a team perspective, very important to be able to work well with others. You can do very well on your own, but you can go much further with the team around you guys. So having the ability to work well with others, I'd say is important for going far. I think that's what they say, right? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with the team, or something along those lines. So yeah, I would say it's pretty important. Great.
So somebody, Sarah said in the chat, adaptation is an excellent skill to have. I agree. And then John, you also, or John said in the chat that a few of you program, and that programming is great skill. Python, Java, and Go. I haven't even heard of Go. I got some homework to do here. And then, so we have another question. I think we might have answered this one, but if anybody has anything to add, what skills do you need to be a part of SDG&E? Nothing really? Okay, I think we did kind of cover that. So let's see. I think a lot of you shared this already when you were talking about your shelves and your takeaways, but if you could give advice to your younger high school self, what would you tell them? What would you tell yourself?
I can take this one. One thing, as I mentioned earlier, I'm sort of an introvert. So in high school, I didn't really join any clubs or student organizations. So I would definitely tell my past self to get involved, and especially in STEM related fields, because that was something that I was missing even when I joined the Navy, was programming experience. And that can help getting an early start, learning, the fundamentals of programming. Like I believe Diana mentioned, if once you learn kind of like the fundamentals, that translates over to other programming languages. So getting a head start early, get involved, join those cybersecurity hackathon competitions, robotics clubs. If you're interested in STEM, get involved early. And that's kind of my takeaway from that.
I have to agree with that. I was a pretty quiet kid, and I was always afraid to join things or didn't want to. But looking back on it, that's one thing I would absolutely tell myself: get involved. I've got 2 college kids right now. I'm telling that all the time. Get involved in clubs and do things and just put yourself out there. So well done. So we're about out of time, getting down to the last couple minutes. So thank you, SDG&E, for everything you shared today. It was great advice, and I wish we had more time to keep it going, because all this knowledge you shared with them is going to be very valuable as they start thinking about their futures. Students, I hope you found something interesting in today's presentation. Can you see yourself working at a place like SDG&E? What's something you could be doing now to prepare for that professional career? Just like we just said, like, is there a club you could join, or a CTE class you could take, some skill you're interested in learning? And maybe this made you reconsider your plans. And if it did make you reconsider your plans, take a moment and talk with a teacher, a family member, a counselor, a friend, and just talk it out and tell them, I really enjoyed what I heard today, and here are some things that I think I should consider for my future. So the more you talk about it while it's fresh on your mind, the more you're going to be able to sort of analyze it and put it into a plan. And then just as a side note, for anybody who goes to San Diego Unified, I'm not sure if we have any San Diego Unified kids here today, but if we do, we have a special program for your district for the summer. San Diego or JA San Diego is going to be offering some summer experiences for high school. We've got entrepreneurship and a leadership program, as well as a stock market challenge. We're going to do that for the summer, and some career job readiness stuff. And if you go to an SD Unified school, you can actually take one of our experiences for free. The rest of you are welcome to, but there's no grant agreement with the other school districts, so there would be a fee involved. So once again, thank you to SDG&E for being here today. The events like this change lives. It really is great that you shared everything today. Students, thank you too for your time. Good luck with your futures. We are happy you're here. Reach for the stars. And then I'm going to put a video on. I know some of you probably have to go, but if you can hang on here for a minute, we're going to close out with a video, and a video about the FIT program that most of today's people were involved with. So here we go. So again, just thank you. If you have to go, go ahead. And if not, once the video is done, you're free to go. Have a great day.
Work can be something great, a place to build friendships, a place to share ideas and learn, a place to help the community, a place to grow. And if we can foster an environment that actively encourages these activities, well, in my mind, work just got a whole lot better.
We have quite a few extraordinary people, whether we're working together outside of the office or networking through a virtual meeting. We enable a space for collaboration.
If there's ever been a time to be excited about technology, it's now. Technology is rapidly advancing, and it's our goal to help connect the dots back to our business.
Giving back to the community is in SDG&E's culture, it's in our DNA. By collaborating with community relations, the FIT team is shaping the future to inspire kids to pursue STEM professions.
So if you're curious about our next event, feel free to join us. I'm sure you'll fit right in.
And that's it, guys. If you're still here, you're free to go. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks so much. It was a great morning. Bye now.